What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some Raid Shadow Legends. We're here on the free-to-play account, and we're going to be talking a little bit about 3v3 Arena today. I had some requests in the comments of one of my free-to-play Friday videos where someone was asking how I was able to get through Bronze 3v3 and into Silver 1. We don't take 3v3 super serious on the free-to-play account, but we do it just to get our materials and get stuff out of the bazaar, and we also do have to reach Silver 1 eventually for the series of Ramontu missions that we're on, so we're going to work on that. On my main account, I'm actually in Gold 2 3v3 right now, so I've actually had a good bit of experience through a lot of the ranks, and oddly enough, I can say that like Bronze 4 and Silver 4 are probably two of the hardest ranks in 3v3 that I have taken part in. Now, they've made some recent changes where they've made the sizes of each of the brackets a little bit bigger, so it's kind of alleviated some of the problem of advancing through it, but it's still, there's going to be some tough spots. Again, I'm not an amazing arena player, but what I'm going to talk about in this video today is the teams that I use on my free-to-play account, and more so the concepts versus the actual champions, because I'm actually kind of blessed on my free-to-play where I have pulled 2 Kymars, I've pulled a Warlord, I've got a pretty good Madame Ceres. So I have a lot of pretty decent arena champions, actually a little bit more so than I do on my main account. On my main account, I have a lot better defensive champions like Krisk and Ursuga and Duchess and Mithrala. I have a lot better offensive champions on this account, it seems, so far, even though I am kind of lacking in the nuker department. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at where I am right now. We actually just hit Silver 1. I came back on this account about a month ago. I was in Bronze 1, and basically every week I've been advancing in rank. I did spend 2 weeks in Bronze 4 because it was a little tougher toward the end, but then we were able to finally break into Silver 1 this week. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to stay. We'll definitely going to see how the week goes, but today was the first day. I've done a couple of battles. I should be saving that for clan versus clan, but my free-to-play account is in a claw cluster where we really don't take clan versus clan very seriously, so I figured, you know what, I'll go ahead and make the video here. But I'll kind of just give you guys an idea here. Let me show you what I'm running on my defense, just so you can get an idea. Now, we do have Arbiter here. I do have my Warlord that I just recently built. We'll take a look at the stats on some of these guys here in a minute. Actually running Madame Ceres along with him, that's kind of because we usually would run Kymar with Arbiter, but since we're missing his buff strip on this team, we went ahead and brought Madame Ceres in also for the decreased defense. And then we have Gembo, who's our primary nuker. This is basically the team that I run as my primary arena farming team in Gold 5. It's my main arena team. So most likely, if you're on a low spend account, or if you're trying to climb through Bronze and Silver, you probably don't have a lot of champions. You're probably going to be wanting to use your main farm team for arena as one of your teams in 3v3, probably on defense and also on offense as well. My second team here, I've got Kymar basically, and the cool thing here is I got a speed lead basically for every single team since I do have the 2 Kymars and my Arbiter. So this team is a little bit more tanky. We've got Kymar with the speed lead, the reset ability, the buff strip, and the sleep. Versolf is in there for the ally protection. We have Mountain King, and then we have Melga Steel Girdle in there for revive. One thing on defense for 3v3 is it's good to have a revive champion if you can get one into your lineup that can help you win a lot of matches you otherwise wouldn't, because you get that surprise revive off, bring 2 or 3 people back, and then turn the tide of the battle. That's also something that Mountain King can help with. We have him in counterattack accessories. We have him in an avenging set. So you're going to see he's pretty slow, but he gets so many counterattacks in, he can usually swing a fight by himself. My third team here, again, we got another Kymar here in the lead. We've got Sylar here for basically turn meter manipulation. We have Ugo in here for decreased defense. Also for that revive, if everyone's dead, he can bring them back. And we are running Magnar, who I recently built, and I'm kind of testing out right now. He's probably like the 3rd best nuker, maybe the 2nd best nuker on my account after Genbo. I've also got Drexar Blood Twin kind of built in a bit of a nuker build, which I use him on offense. I'll show you guys that here in a second. I guess we could go ahead. You can see the stats here real quick. So you see my Arbiter, she's not super fast, 324. I have not been able to get a lot of good speed gear on this account, so that's kind of where we are. She's just in there basically to provide that attack boost, turn meter boost, and obviously to revive. Now my Warlord is actually somewhat good here. I actually was able to get him to 574 accuracy, 228 speed, some decent numbers everywhere else, but I actually took the gear I had on Madame Ceres and put it on him. She had an accuracy chest with quad speed roll, so he got that. Was able to build him pretty well. Obviously, we want him going and putting that the cooldown skill out first. We don't have any books in him just yet. We're kind of waiting for CBC for that. Even despite stealing some of her gear, my Madam is still pretty solid, 223 with 566. Usually is good enough for anything I've encountered in Gold 5 Arena and 3v3 thus far. So two pretty strong champs with the accuracy there. And then Gembo here, just built 70 crit rate because you don't need to maximum crit rate. He does give himself that 30% boost. His crit damage is pretty solid, and his speed's pretty decent. So he's able to use that sword trance and then use his big time nuke right after, and that's usually enough to beat a lot of the teams we face. We have our second team here, again, which I said is a little bit more defensive. We've got our second Kymar, who's not very fast. He's 186. I can't really do much with him because I have him in my Spider 25 team that does 15 seconds. He's tuned specifically for that. So I kind of had to give him what I could give him on this one, and he's basically just there for the speed lead and maybe the reset if he can get it in. We've got Versolf prioritizing his ally protection. He's a pretty decent build. He can hit pretty hard. I'd like to get his numbers up a little bit more, but he's more tuned for, just being tanky to help me out in Doom Tower. My Mountain King, like I said, is pretty slow, but he's got so much counterattack stuff on him. He's got pretty high HP, a little bit of attack to help him out too. So we're mostly relying on him just to counterattack. He's going to go very slowly, but he's going to get counterattacks and usually one-shot people on those counterattacks. And then we've got Melga here. I've got her in an immunity set. Her resistance could be a little bit higher. That's something I'm working on. And she's kind of fast, not really that fast, but fast enough with the speed aura to where she can get that revive. When we do have that prioritized, that's one thing. If you are running a revive champ, you usually want to make sure that revive is going to be prioritized, because a lot of times what will happen is the computer will be playing for you. You don't have your skills preset, and they won't use that revive. So instead of reviving a couple of people on your team, which could help you win the match, they'll actually use another skill, and then you'll wind up losing. So one thing to take away there is definitely make sure you go in and use these presets. They're very helpful, especially with some of the champions with bad AI. Like Kymar will always use his Seal of Magic first, regardless of if you want him to. So you got to kind of set that. You want him to lead off with that buff strip. If you're trying to nuke the other team, steal their shields, take their buffs away, etc. So this is our main Kymar. He's at 280. He's my second fastest champion on the account besides Arbiter. I used to run them together, so that's why he's not quite over the 300 mark, and just enough accuracy to land his Abyssal Gaze. Sylar here also is just there mainly to do her turn meter reduction and the decreased speed debuff. We've got Ugo in here, and you can't really set Ugo's... trying to think here, where's his revive at? Yeah, this one here. I probably should have that prioritized, but he really can't use that unless everybody's dead, so you're kind of at the mercy of that. But we should definitely have, like I said, on the last team we looked at, we should have that prioritized, so we'll fix that there. And then we have Magnar here, who is 102 and 232, so pretty solid nuke if he gets to go. The reason he's here is because we don't have to really worry about having any type of attack up or anything. His damage is all going to be based on HP, which we obviously needed to get a lot more, but I kind of skimped on that to get him more crit damage. He's kind of a tough champion to build if you don't have great gear, but we're trying him out. We can replace him with Drexstar Blood Twin if we have to. You'll see I use Drex on one of my offensive teams here. So that's just kind of the concepts I have on defense. Some other things you can try are multiple revivers in a team. Just go for something super tanky. Like we do have a team that I run sometimes where it's like Versolf in the lead. We put Harvest Jack in there with Vogoth, and we bring in Mountain King. So it's like basically a big HP team that's got a ton of HP. Vogoth can provoke. He can heal everybody when they get hit. Versolf's got ally protection. Harvest Jack's got a bunch of debuffs that are really good, and he can hit pretty hard too. And then you've got Mountain King there again, just getting those counterattacks. So there's a lot of different concepts you can try with this. You can do a counterattack, but usually like when you're coming up through bronze and silver, it's quite honestly, if you have a fast enough team, you can usually beat pretty much anybody, because a lot of people don't have great speed gear that early. So we'll get into a couple offense battles here too, but let me kind of just show you the battle log here. You can see we've been getting hit pretty hard. We've only been hit 3 times in the last day, so not too bad. And then we can look at our attack log here, and we did run some earlier. We kind of got lucky, got a couple of single person defenses, which you'll see early in the week if you stay low enough. That's another thing I'll talk about here in a second. But you can kind of see some of the teams that we're fighting against. We don't win every single time, and quite honestly, what I usually shoot for is to try to win 2 out of 3, like you see on this one here. As long as I think I can maybe win 2 out of 3, that's the teams that I'm going to go for. When I get into the battles here in a second, I'll kind of talk about what we look for. for that there. But the thing is that's cool is early in the week, you can actually go ahead and just put a one-man defense in basically on each one of your teams. And you'll get farmed, but at the same time, you'll usually go low enough in the bracket where you can also farm other one-man teams. That's a good way to build up your gold bars. And then later in the week, you want to switch over to your main defenses, and that way you can start to climb if you're going to try to do that. Or if you want to try to maintain your position, you just want to leave that defense in all week. That's something else you could do. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't really do that. The higher you get in bronze and even in silver, it's really tough to find those. What I noticed in gold 1 and gold 2 on my main account is like all week it's basically like farm city. Everybody doesn't put in their defenses till late in the week, so it's kind of nice. So, all right, let's get in here. We'll take a look at some of these. You see I did some fights earlier. I'm going to talk about something else I do look for, and I don't know if this is good advice or not, but it's something that I do, and it seems to work out pretty well. It's helped me climb, like I said, each rank over the last 5 weeks, is I will look for a team like this right here. And what I'm looking at is the team power is relatively low. And now team power is not something that you can really focus on, because you see a lot of teams that are really, really super high power sometimes, and it's usually because they have like the higher crit damage. They have the higher resistance. It doesn't necessarily mean they're well-built champions. It just means they have a lot of a certain statistic in some cases. So some of these lower power teams can be really, really fast, but you want to look at the type of champions they're running. And so what I looked at here is I'm like, okay, relatively low team power, and it's a level 77. I'm almost level 90. I know kind of at that stage of your account in the level 70s, you're still developing things in most cases. Your gear is not often going to be the best. So what I'm going to assume a lot of these times is you see these teams like down here, we beat this guy. He only had his one-man defenses in, but at the same time, I'm looking at it like, okay, level 80, it's possible their gear's not as good as my gear, so we may have a chance to get a couple wins. And so that's kind of what I did with that one there. See if there's any other ones on this team. So like this guy, again, level 77. I'm looking at his teams, and I'm like, well, there's some, this last team I was kind of worried about because of Tormund, but I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, level 77. This third matchup is also my counterattack team that's a little bit tankier that I use, so I'm not as worried about that Tormund as I normally would be. I think I can beat the other two teams right off the bat. So anytime I feel confident enough that I can take 2 out of 3, I'm usually going to go ahead and at least try that fight. And you got 10 tokens, so you can try a bunch. You only need to do 10 fights every week to go up in a rank, and you only need 5 each day to get to your faction war requirement. Now, I look at this team, though, here. This guy's level 89. He's probably got some decent gear on his account. But I'm looking at his teams, too, and I'm going to avoid Hegemon and Rhodos, because that's the thing on my account. I don't really have anything to deal with Hegemon yet. I did just pull Molly. We're going to be building her out at some point as a Hegemon counter. Foley's pretty dangerous. Foley with Tormund. So there's 2 teams here where I would be toss-up question mark. I wouldn't be super confident about going after that. So probably going to avoid this guy. I'm probably not going to fight him. I think I could beat this first team pretty easily. But then you got 2 teams here that look pretty tough right off the bat. This guy's a level 100, so we're going to assume he's got better gear than us, although his teams are kind of interesting. The thing is here, he's got this second team I'd be kind of worried about, but I might actually try to fight this guy and see what happens. That's the thing too. Early in the week, it's okay to test it out, see if there's some people that you might be able to take on, because you're going to see them on again, off again. But yeah, I usually avoid anybody that's got Hegemon, Sify, because I'm just not ready at this point to take on those types of teams. But let's see if we can. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna do this one here. Like I said, the guy's a level 86. We're gonna assume that his gear is not as good as ours. He does have a Valkyrie though, that's a little dangerous, and helmet can be kind of dangerous too. We got a Brogni in the second matchup here, which may or may not be a good thing. If we can get off the bat against these guys quickly, we'll probably be able to shut down their cooldowns. But I got my 3 preset teams in here, and I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty lazy during the week. I don't really change much. I just do my 3 teams, basically auto battle half this stuff. I'll kind of show you the teams that we are running here for this. We've got, this is the main arena team I use pretty much during the week to farm. So we've got Arbiter, here's our lead again, 324. She's going to go. Prince Kymar is going to go next. He's going to use the Abyssal Gaze. Madame Ceres is going to go. She's going to double up on the buff strip. So anything that Kymar misses, usually she's going to strip off. This actually comes in handy against Stone Skin a lot of the times. So we have 2 chances to strip any Stone Skin that does pop up. And then she goes to decrease defense. And then Gembo is going to go and drop the hammer. We got another team here. This is kind of again, my tankier sort of stall team that I kind of just throw in there. We've got Melga in the lead with the HP. We got Magnar there because we don't have any decreased defense here. So again, he's going to help us out being able to hit hard without needing that increased attack or decreased defense. Mountain King again, just there for the counterattacks. And then we got Vogoth in here. who's built kind of sturdy. He's in reaction accessories as well. Got a pretty decent amount of HP and defense, so he's just there. He's very slow. He's just basically in there to tank, take those hits and heal up the team, and then put out that provoke every once in a while if you can. And then we've got our, where's our other team at that we just built? Okay, so this is a new team I actually just put together when we got the other Kymar, and then we got Warlord. I just wanted to try to work Warlord into a team so that we could get him going. So we got Kymar lead again. He's kind of slow, so sometimes this team does get cut in on. Ugo's there again for the decreased defense. And then let's go ahead and fix, we need to make that the opener. And then make sure we put that as first choice so we get that revive off. And then I'm actually using Drexstar here as my nuker on this team. And there's a reason I'm doing that. It's because, again, on this team, I don't have a whole lot of great offensive champions. I do have a Lua that I'm working on building to be a Rotos counter at this point, but Drex has got a decent amount of defense and he's able to hit pretty hard. But the reason that he's pretty cool as a nuker is because on his Burning Lash, he can put down a provoke. So let's say you nuke them and you don't kill them all, but you manage to provoke the survivors. That basically locks them down and allows your other guys to come in and get the win here. So let's just we'll do a couple battles here. I'm probably going to lose all these. It's usually what happens when I make videos, but kind of see the teams in action. This team is, again, my best team I use in arena, so usually they don't have too much of an issue winning fights. They usually go pretty quick. Here we're not fast enough, so this will probably be this might be a loss, but we'll see. We're able to get Warlord in there, but they've got the shields up, they've got everything going on, so we were able to strip the buffs, and it's just going to be a matter of who can win who. Let's go ahead and actually see if we can take Arbiter out here so she can't do the revive, even though Warlord is kind of dealing with that with his cooldown. Now this is the thing too, 3v3 does take some time. You know, you're going to have to spend some time in it, so that's something that can be annoying, even if you're autoing the battle. See, there you go, Drexstar threw out that provoke. That's going to be huge. You know, we've already got the cooldown increase with Warlord. Getting that provoke off with Drexstar is probably going to help us take this. It looks like we're going to be okay on this one. That HP burn is going to do some lingering damage there, which will help us knock some of these guys out. All right, so Arbiter's down, Brogny's down. Really not too concerned about these last two here. So even though they went a little bit faster than us, we were still able to get in here. And again, this is like I was saying, I looked at this guy's account level, his power level, the teams he was running, and I was like, I'm pretty confident I can take 2 of these 3 matches, and that's what we're going to be able to do, assuming we can take out Skull Lord here. It looks like he's built pretty sturdy, so he might be in some kind of solo build for Doom Tower because he seems to be pretty sturdy here, but we should have enough to take him down, hopefully. But you'll run into this sometimes. You run into a Mithrala, or I think it's Wither is the other one, who they just continually heal themselves over and over, and even with a full team of 4, it can be tough to bring them down. But you know, again, this is taking a little while. I think we're gonna be able to win this one, but there we go. All right, so this third one I think was a bit of a toss-up. You know, I said Valkyrie is always tough. You know, she gets that shield up, and then it's really just like game over almost, because it's so hard to get through those shields, plus the counterattacks. So I don't think this is one that's really... Honestly, at this point, I would almost just get out. I would just skip this battle, because I don't think there's any way we win this. Even with Mountain King able to cut through that shield and everything else, they have too many buffs at this point. They've got counterattack every single time, you know. So it's going to be pretty tough to take these guys out. They don't have any revive, which is kind of cool, but we're just not going to be able to do a whole lot of damage here in this case. And we're frozen. That doesn't help. And this is probably going to be like, I'm going to say a 2 or 3 minute fight, just because they don't really have a lot of damage. But they're keeping our Mountain King frozen, which is not good. And we're going to be able to keep reviving probably as long as Melga doesn't go down. So we got a counterattack there. But see, against that shield, it's just not doing anything. So this was the one team I was kind of concerned about. But, you know, if we can get a shot in here on Helmet before he gets any more shields, we may be able to... Well, but he's under... Okay, he's not under Veil now. But yes, okay. Yep. Okay, there you go. All right, well, Mountain King got a pretty big shot there on Helmet. So that may change things a little bit. Let's go over to Mazo Mage here, because I think Valkyrie is going to be weak affinity or strong affinity of Mountain King, so he is probably not going to be able to do much to her right now. But it's going to come down to patience here. It's like, do we want to really sit here and fight this out for a couple of minutes? I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't want to sit here and play this through. So what we're going to do, we're just going to skip this battle. We already won 2 out of 3. That's my goal on basically every fight. So we got our 50 gold bars. And we're in a pretty good position there. So like I was saying, you know, we looked at the guy and said, okay, you know, 2 out of these 3 we could probably do. And that's kind of what we went with there. Trying to see if there's anybody else here on this page I would really want to take on. We do have a refresh, which is good. Like down here, I'd probably stay away from this. This Lix Astralon is pretty powerful, and they're probably a little bit faster than us. Running a blender team in the second one, and we got a Foley here to kind of be concerned about there in the last one. And we're going to assume they got pretty decent gear there, about on par with us. So, like I said, we're kind of slow, so we're not going to really push too many of those speed teams. So here we go. We got a new page. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we can do that same strategy here. We got level 73. Yeah, this second team is going to be pretty tanky. This is going to be down to a speed race here. Now, 728, I can tell they're going to be very heavy resistance, probably tank build with this team here, and maybe a little bit with that team too. But let's go ahead and see what happens. We'll just kind of jump in. Now, when you get further into 3v3, and you get more champions on your account, what you can do, like I have on my main account, I've got 6 or 7 preset teams already built. Like I've got my team that counters Rotos built. I've got some other teams to counter various champions like Hegemon, and I have those all preloaded and preset, so I can swap them in and out during fights or during certain matchups. Unfortunately, on this account, I'm not at that point yet, which is why I just have these 3 teams, and I just kind of use them for what it's worth. It's just really tough. You know, if you don't have a lot of champions, if you don't have a lot of resources, and gear especially, you know, you need pretty good gear to compete in arena. And in 3v3, you're basically having to build 3 whole arena teams that you would, even in bronze and silver 3v3, you probably need 3 teams that you could use in gold 4, gold 5, if I'm being completely honest. It's a lot harder than actual regular arena is. Like it's like I've finished plat in regular arena. Getting from silver 4 to gold 1 was harder than ever finishing in plat. If I'm being honest. So at least in my experience. Other people may have a different experience with that, but that's just kind of what I went through here. Now we're just kind of stuck in this looping battle here. Sathalia can be really annoying. I actually do have Sathalia. I probably need to build her at some point. But this is just going to come down to whoever's Arbiter manages to get the most revives off. So, and it's going to be, okay, we got ours off there. We got our boost. And we've got to kill at least one of these people before she revives. She resisted Kaimar's sleep. So this guy's got a lot of good resistance gear. See, there you go. She got the stupid revive off. We killed them both again, which is good. But it's just tough here. You know, he's got a very high resistance team, it looks like. I was hoping to showcase a few more battles, but with these battles taking so long, I'm probably... Oh, God, Sathalia. That's so aggravating. Sathalia is one of my most hated champions to go against, especially in faction wars, because she can do so much different stuff with the healing. All right, so they got really fast off with the block damage, so we're already behind here unless Kaimar can get a buff strip, which he does. But Warlord got knocked out in block revive, so this is going to be tough. See if Drexstar can do some work here. Okay, another block revive from... It's funny when you use Mordu, he hardly ever does peril, but when you play against Mordu, it's like every single attack he hits is peril block revive, so it's pretty funny. But this is definitely a loss. I don't think these guys can bring this back. Look at that. He hits peril 3 times in a row. Ugo could... I don't know if he can revive because we got block... Yeah, block revive is out, so we can go ahead and just skip ahead to the next one. We know that's a loss. But there you go. Mordu McCab, you know, when he's on the other team... He completely screws you when he's on your team. He doesn't really do too much. So fortunately, they did get their veil up. I was going to try to target Syl before that happened, but we're getting rolled here. It looks like it's going to be just dependent on how well Mountain King can absorb punishment here. We do get a revive there with Melga. You know, she's pretty good here, but... Okay, let's see if we can target Syl. We need to take down the reviver there so we actually can have a chance. So if our reviver's alive and theirs is dead, we have a much better chance of... Oh, okay, well that's that. That is going to be the end of that one. Alright, so we get rolled on that one. That's okay. It happens. You know, it's what happens. You're not going to win every single time. So, all right, let's take a look here. We got another. This last team looks like it might be. Lysandra's another one to watch out for. She can be really annoying to deal with. We'll just jump in here and see if we could take on these teams. The video is running a bit longer than I wanted it to, and of course we're not as fast as them, but thankfully we were fast enough to cut in. So again, this first team, this is my farming team for Gold 5. That's why it's usually able to win quite a bit. Now we got shields here, we got bombs, we got a lot of junk to deal with, so yeah, we're gonna be in trouble. And let's see, yep, Lysandra's too fast, so that's not surprising. This team is very slow. They're not usually going to do too much. The thing we have to worry about here is with Lysandra being able to manipulate so much turn meter, will we ever get a turn? That's what it's going to come down to. And poor Mountain King is going to be over there just like, man, can I get a turn? Can I please just have a turn? And again, here we got to try to take Syl down because, you know, if we can get rid of their reviver before they get rid of ours, we have a much better chance. It's going to be tough with all this healing that Wither provides. All right, we did get a provoke. That's pretty good there. Good job, Vogoth. Now we just need Mountain King to get a turn. That's if he could just go. See, decrease turn. He keeps getting turn meter decrease, which if we had a bit more resistance on him, it would be good. But see, here's the problem. We're just not getting a turn, and even when he did get a turn, it didn't really hit Syl too hard there. So yeah, you can see here, there's a lot of healing with this team. And this is basically what I was talking about. You know, you get those tanky defenses that are just in there. And it's going to take a long time to fight against them. So, all right. So, Syl's there. She's probably going to get healed up. You can see there she's already back to half health almost. But it's just like, can we get enough hits on Syl to get... If we can get rid of Syl, then start taking them out one by one, we've got a pretty good chance. Because they're really not doing a ton of damage to us. It's just they're getting so many extra turns, you know. And Syl's back at full health, so is Lysandra. We had them both almost dead, so... Oh, God, we just cannot get a big shot. So, tough matches. But like I said, you know, that first team, we can usually win just about every first matchup with that first team. It's just whether or not we can win one of the next two. But yeah, this is not looking too good here. Melga's stunned. She's probably going to die here pretty soon. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. So, there we go. We lost 2 in a row. Like I said, whenever I try to do the showcases, we usually lose every single time. So, it's all right, though. I'm not afraid to show off when things don't go according to plan. But you can see here, even in Silver 1, you know, the competition is fairly tough. You're going up against pretty developed accounts, you know, level 93, level 85. Even here, you've got some accounts that are pretty well built. I mean, look at this guy. This guy is like level 79 and has 2 Necrits. 2 Necrits and a Kymar, Valkyrie. Like, this team right here would be awful to fight. And this one, too, counterattack. You got the Revive and Godseeker and a Necrit. I mean, just... It's crazy some of the champs you see on some of these accounts. So, let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's anything else we want to attempt. Candor Fawn is dangerous, although we do have mostly Spirit on our third team, so we could try this one. But you kind of just have to look at each one and kind of, you know, think, you know, do you think the teams you have in place can do well against what they have in place? And just adjust your strategies accordingly. Like I said, you know, there's a lot of different ways to build teams for this, especially on defense. You know, that's one of the things you have to kind of figure. And the cool thing about defense sometimes is defense can be completely psychological. Like, if you have a very tough defense, like kind of like we're doing right now, we're going through looking at these teams like, I don't know if I can beat this team, so I'm just not even going to bother fighting them. So that plays a lot into it. That works a lot too in regular arena. If you could build a defense that somebody's going to look at it, especially around plat reset, and they're going to think like, oh man, I don't, you know, I'm 50-50 on whether or not I can beat this team. They're not going to take that risk a lot of the times, especially at reset. But that's something to think about too as well. If you can build some pretty solid teams on defense, that can also help you out. I noticed on my main account this past week, I actually won more defensive matchups than I actually played offensive matches. I didn't really play too many offensive matches during the week, and I basically progressed to Gold 2 just based on my defensive wins. It was pretty crazy. So again, we're going to try to target Syl here and get rid of this Revive. See, Magnar got a pretty nice shot there, but you know, Candor Fawn is going to slap us pretty hard. Let's see. Okay, we lost our reviver, so we're in trouble here. That's going to be tough. We've got to get Mountain King to get a turn off here. He's stunned. That's not, it's unfortunate. So yeah, so here you go. We're just getting CC'd, basically. Crowd control is what that means, if anybody doesn't know. So yeah, it's just the Sidami team on defense is well built, and they got a lot of debuffs, and we're just getting crowd controlled into next week. So we may not even get a turn. It's pretty funny. So that's kind of the thing that you run into if you don't run a fast team. Now Mountain King can snowball, but he's got way too much going on here. I mean, if he can get off, oh god, Swift Parry. It's like if we could just get a kill on Syl, which we're not going to, that would have been, it's tough. There we go. We're losing every single time in this video, so it is what it is. I mean, we're still in the green, thankfully. And the thing is, if you lose a bunch of matches, you'll sometimes drop down to where you get a bunch of like one-man defenses that you can go after again. So that's unfortunate. I don't really see. Let's see if we want. So I really don't want to mess with Rotos. Rotos is such a pain. So here we got a reviver with Lady Kimmy. It's going to be some turn meter manipulation there. I don't know if we can do that one. It's all going to, again, it's just going to depend a lot on how fast some of these teams are. But we'll just go in and give it a shot. All right, again, this, like I said, usually this team is I'd say 90%. They're usually going to get off first, and it's going to be over with. This team is where we run into issues. It's just, that's the thing I was saying too, is like, even at this level, speed is it's like a lot of people will say in main arena, the speed meta is no longer a problem. I kind of disagree on some of those cases, because really, honestly, in Gold 4 and Gold 5 right now, if you have a faster team, you can win 90% of your matches. And that's kind of the same thing in 3v3. When you're coming up through bronze, you're coming up through silver. If you can outspeed somebody, you're going to win 90% of the time, I'd say. All these matches we're losing, it's basically because our second team and our third team are getting outsped every single match. So that's something to keep in mind too. It's why it's very important to be farming up that speed gear. Now we did take out the reviver. Now I do need to take Astralon down here if I can, because he can do a revive. But this is one of those cases where, see, he did it. There we go. So now we got to take him down again. Reviver's dead, so that's not good. We're feared, which means it's going to proc, because fear always procs when it's on you. We get stunned. So see, there's just too much crap to deal with here. It's like we really have no shot. And then again, we're too slow to really, we're feared. If we don't get the counterattacks to proc there, we're kind of screwed. So yeah, there we go. Lose another match. So when we refresh, we'll have we'll have some teams that we could probably beat. But yeah. So you guys get to see how much we suck at 3v3 on this account, basically. So we can go in our battle log now. We've lost, 4 in a row? After we did put some decent wins together. But it's just how it goes, Sometimes you're going to lose a bunch. Sometimes you're going to win a bunch. Don't let it get you down. Just keep working on your teams. Keep working on your gear. It's the way I look at arena, a lot of times, a lot of people, they'll go into arena and they get frustrated. When they lose a lot of fights or they can't get over like a 70% win rate or something. I look at it a little bit differently, mainly because I come from a lot of competitive games, competitive shooters mostly, where it's like you go into a match and you lose. It's like, what do we need to do better to win next time is basically what you need to take away. Like, what could we have done? Obviously, we're looking at some of these fights and it's like, we didn't resist the debuffs. We weren't fast enough to go first. Things like that. And it's like, so then what you do is apply that to, okay, I need to go get better gear. I need to rebuild some champions. Maybe I need to take a look at what's on my roster and bring in some different teams, try some different things. That's kind of what it's a little bit easier to focus on that than focus on, oh, I'm losing every time. It's like, don't really worry about losing. It's going to happen. It's just take it as a lesson and kind of think about how you can better develop your champions, how you can build different teams maybe to counter what you're focusing on. Like my problem on this account, like I said, is I'm just lazy. I have these 3 teams built and that's all I have. I don't really have much else. Whereas on my main account that's in Gold 2, I have 7 or 8 different teams that are built to go and do different things. Like I have my main nuke team that's a speed team that can beat pretty much any team. But if there's a Rotos, I bring in my speed team with Lua as a nuke. She hits 3 times on her nuke and it kills Rotos because he can only be killed with a multi-hit. So you have to kind of take things like that into account. And the problem is in bronze and silver, you probably don't have enough resources. You don't have enough teams built just yet. So it's going to be a little bit of a rough go at times. But, just keep at it and keep improving. It's like the same thing with your account. Keep improving your account. Keep improving your gear. Get rid of the bad gear. Keep the good stuff. Only roll the good stuff. go for the arena stats, the speed and the crit rate, the accuracy, the resistance, and work on trying to get a couple of different teams that you can run in here and give yourself a little bit of variety. But maybe we'll focus a little bit more on 3v3 when we do the free-to-play Friday episodes, but somebody had asked for me to go in and kind of show what I do and what I have on this account, since we were able to get the free-to-play from all the way through bronze and up to silver within about a month and a half, and also since we're dealing with some of those Remontu missions. So that's kind of a look at my 3v3 on my free-to-play. It's nothing special. Like I said, I'm not an amazing arena player, at least I don't think I am. I know there's a lot of people that are out there that are a lot better than I am at it, but I just wanted to kind of give my take on things and kind of show you guys my strategies and what I do and my, kind of my thoughts on building some of those teams. So sorry the video went a little bit longer than usual. We're up to almost 40 minutes here, so I didn't expect this, but I hope you guys found some of this helpful at least. As always, if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to leave it down below in the comments. As always, hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.